restless when you're fun, cause you're desperate. Oh, here they come for a chance, for adventure. What's your poison? What's your pleasure? Oh.
What's the story, Smackdown fans? Tonight's topics on the Wrestle story are Kevin Owens, been on a roll since he has returned.
I would definitely agree with that. He was on such a roll tonight that he took on the 7-foot so-called backup dancer for Daniel Bryan in one of the main event matches.
The U.S. title changes hands.
R-Truth has let John Cena down.
And Charlotte calls out Becky.
I find this very funny because they talked about it as if, like, Becky Lynch isn't even on SmackDown anymore. But she is. So I thought it was kind of funny and ironic the way they did it.
All that and more coming up. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Wrestle Story, where we discuss all things wrestling. The legends of the past, the superstars of the present, and the trailblazers of the future. We stream every Monday night after Raw, every Tuesday after SmackDown, every Wednesday after NXT, and after every pay-per-view.
Also, if you're lucky during the week, depending on what's happening in the world of wrestling, we will do extra streams sometimes, just if there's any new news, releases, things like that.
Make sure you subscribe and hit that button, little bell.
Button. That button. Don't know what button, but that button.
The little bell button. So you know when we are going live. So let's go ahead and get into the show.
Obviously, it is Tuesday. We are talking about SmackDown. SmackDown Live. 2 words. Not just SmackDown. SmackDown Live. So we open the show with King Kong Bundy, Remembrance. Unfortunately, he passed away late last night, early this morning. You know, I was like, what? I mean, I feel like he was a super underrated wrestler. Like, he had really good, iconic matches. WrestleMania 2, I mean, he was, like, the big headliner. You know?
Well,
so, I don't know. And I was shocked to see that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, me too. He was one of the better wrestlers in his time. He had the 5 count.
Yeah.
he was, battled Hulk Hogan. He was at a, I think because of the time he was in, he had some, with Hulk Hogan and some of those guys that were there, he never really got a title to run at a title shot. So I think that's, excellent wrestler. It's kind of sad to see that, he's passed away.
And he was only 61, I believe.
Yeah, he wasn't
and
very
so
old.
he was pretty young, so.
It seems like a lot of these wrestlers died at a younger age for whatever reason.
So yeah, it was really sad to hear about that, because I put out a tweet talking about how I thought he was a more underrated wrestler, and people don't really talk about him much until something like this happens, and it's sad because he was really good. He had a different type of character, and I thought he was cool.
Yeah, definitely. So then we have Daniel Bryan opening up the show, and they had a Kofi Kingston video from last week that they showed.
Yeah.
And
it was like all the video showed was talking about when he got his opportunity taken away, and little clips and bits and bobs from the last 11 years of hard work that he's put in, where he hasn't gotten anything good out of it. So that's really all the video was. And then Daniel Bryan started his promo, and literally, I kid you not, the crowd erupted with Kofi chants. Like, none other. It was so loud, you could barely even hear what Daniel Bryan was saying. I mean, that just shows how much the fans want to see Kofi get a shot at the title.
Oh, definitely. I think that one of the issues, I think that Kofi Kingston will get a shot. I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
I think that they will give him a shot at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Or at least I hope they do.
I would hope so, too. Well, the thing I'm kind of questioning now is whether or not it will be Daniel Bryan.
It could be Kevin Owens.
That's kind of the route I'm going. Quite honestly, I don't know if Daniel Bryan will retain his title this weekend at Fastlane. The only way I see him doing it is if Rowan gets involved, like he has the last couple times that Bryan has defended his title. So that's the only way I see him retaining, because otherwise I see them giving Kevin Owens the title, and then Kevin Owens goes on to face Kofi at Mania.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that as a possibility.
Because I feel like they're almost putting a lot on Kevin Owens to make him look really good, and he's the babyface in this situation, which is different.
The only thing is if you're going to do that, would you want Kevin Owens to win the title and then turn around and lose it to Kofi Kingston at Mania?
I mean, I don't know. And the issue with that is they're making Kevin Owens to be out as the babyface, and Kofi Kingston is the babyface too. So putting them together, there isn't that, I really don't like you type of vibe where one is a heel, like the situation with Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan right now.
Well, I think that they could make Kevin Owens the heel pretty quick, just because Well, the fans, I think, would cheer on Kofi Kingston no matter what. So I think that
it's like, I hate to use this as an analogy because I always do this, but it's exactly like what they're doing with Becky.
Yeah, kind of.
Becky, no matter what she does, she always gets cheered by the fans just because the fans like her. And that's the same thing with Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
I find it very funny. They've put both of them in the same situation where Vince came out and was like, ho, 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 sorry, no, not happening. You're not going to be in this match anymore. You're suspended. You're whatever. I find it very funny they're doing the same thing with both of them. So then they're both getting the exact same reaction out of the crowd.
Yeah. So during this promo for Daniel Bryan, he basically calls Rowan a 7-foot
backup dancer.
Yeah,
that's what Kevin Owens calls. He was in the middle of talking. He's like, I don't have a 7-foot backup dancer to help me out. And Bryan goes on to say, well, you don't have a 7-foot anybody because you don't have any friends. And when this happened, I was like, are they going to bring out Sami Zayn? Because that would be so cool. People were speculating that we're going to see Sami Zayn at some point in time because he is getting to the point where he can come back from being injured. And so it makes sense to do it right after they bring Kevin Owens back because they did have a thing together right before they both got injured. So, lots of people were speculating that, he was going to come out and help. Well, he didn't on SmackDown. We had somebody else come out and help, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So maybe at Fastlane, Sami Zayn shows up, and then Sami Zayn is the reason that Kevin Owens wins the title?
Possibly.
Because he comes out and defends... I lost my train of thought. He comes out... Rowan tries to get involved, and then Sami Zayn comes out and, or he comes in from the crowd or something, and then takes out Rowan, and then Kevin Owens is able to get the win and go to Mania. Maybe.
So, here's a thought. With the tag team division being kind of weak, and then bringing up, Ricochet and Aleister Black and some of those guys, would it be possible that Kevin Owens would not win the title if they're going to bring Sami Zayn back, and then have them win the titles or go for a run at the titles as a tag team?
That's always a possibility. For sure, 100%, that's a possibility to amp up the tag team division because they were like a tag team, so to speak, before they both got injured. So that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it'd make perfect sense.
It's another thought, and it would again, like I said, it would amp up the tag team division because they don't have a lot of tag teams right now that are great.
Yeah. They definitely need to shore that up quite a bit.
Yeah, 100%. So Kevin Owens then gets in the ring and gets in Rowan's face after Rowan proceeds to get into Owens' face. And then they kind of have a standoff, and then Rowan takes a shot. I don't even remember. Fight breaks out between the two of them, essentially. And Kevin Owens is left standing tall in the end of that, which leads into a match later in the evening where Kevin Owens and Rowan have a match. So we'll talk about that and the results of that in a little bit.
Then we have the Usos versus Shane and Miz.
Yeah, I thought this was actually pretty decent. The Usos always cut really good promos, I think, personally. What do you think?
Oh, they're one of the best at the business, so I think, that they would be able to work with anybody. Mm-hmm. The one thing I don't and Shane and Miz are good at least the Miz is good on the mic.
I don't think Shane is bad, but I don't think he has as much experience with doing the mic stuff like Miz and the Usos do.
No,
because that's not like what he was there to do. He was there to help backstage and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't understand why we have this match again.
Well, we're seeing this match on Sunday for the titles.
I know. So the point of having this match now is what? I mean, it's one of those things where they use all the talent you have.
Yeah.
Don't just keep putting the same people out there.
Well, so the Usos came out and they cut a promo on Shane and The Miz. And they talked about, all these different things that they didn't like about them. How they talk about being the best tag team in the world, supposedly. And then they made a comment about they hate when Shane talks about his shoe game being better than the Usos. And then, I think Jimmy was the one who said that. And then Jay was like, well, I mean, his shoe game is better than our game. And they were like, that's beside the point. What are you even talking about? And then they just kind of looked at each other and were like, ugh. I thought it was funny. And then Miz and Shane come out and they cut a promo on them and talk about being the best tag team in the world. And then the Usos take a shot at Shane and The Miz, and they get thrown out of the ring. And then their match starts after we come back from commercial break. So then we have the match, and Shane and Miz win. I kind of expected that. So with them winning now, I would say they're
going to lose at Fastlane.
Not going to win at Fastlane, yeah.
In fact, I think you will see them split up, or at least have the starts of being split up.
Because if they're going to lead into this as Mania, to get Shane on the card somewhere, they gotta start breaking him up now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to happen until after Mania.
Well, and then what's the point?
And then there isn't any point because, I mean, who's going to want to, like, nobody's going to tune into, like, SummerSlam or something to watch them, like, I mean, that's another big pay-per-view, but it's not going to get as big of a pop as it would if it was at Mania.
Well, I think the whole idea is to get Shane in at Mania.
He's been in Mania. He's been in Mania every year, like, since he returned. In some way, shape, or form. He has. So, you know, you expect Shane to be on the card somewhere.
Yeah, so I think we'll see a split up between those two at Fastlane, and then you'll see a build up to a match for them at WrestleMania. I definitely think that, you know, Shane's run at being in the ring is probably going to end at Mania.
Probably.
And
if not, you know, I guess, you know, cool.
Yeah. I mean, if he continues, that's fine. But, I mean, like I said, the only way he has good matches is to be
dangerous
and
very,
like,
very
crazy
dangerous.
like some of his moves. So I would expect it to end at Mania with him in the ring.
So that leads me kind of to the next point, where there has been some talk and some speculation as to what might happen to lead them to break up. And something that was thrown around is they're making a big deal out of Mrs. Dad being there again for watching them re-win the tag titles, which I don't see happening.
Yeah.
So something that was thrown around was Shane has Mr. Miz get into the ring, and then they both beat up on the Miz.
Well, it makes sense with, you know, the whole, my dad never really, like, showed that he cared for me, never appreciated anything I did, and he really didn't like anything I did, and the first time he was really excited about me was when we won the titles.
Yeah.
And so I could see, you know, them taking that angle, and his dad's, like, really disappointed that they didn't win the titles.
And then Shane takes it one step further and invites him into the ring and is like, here you go.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Or maybe what they do is the Miz and the Miz's dad turn on Shane.
Or what if Shane attacks Miz's dad?
I don't think that storyline would work out, but
I mean, it's another thought.
Yeah.
As to what could happen to leading to them breaking up.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they have to do something big that would make Miz say, oh, we can't do this anymore, I hate you. Or to have Shane say, we can't do this anymore, I hate you. They have to do something big.
Yeah. I agree. I think something that big has to be done. It's just a matter of what they're going to do with it. And I think that since they've used his dad throughout this whole thing, it wouldn't shock me to see them do it that way.
Mm-hmm. It would make sense if they're trying to go with continuity.
Yeah. So then we have a Charlotte Flair interview. Again, why? Because, you know, she's coming out at the end of the show. So the point of having her in this interview was just to fill time.
Well, I think it was to actually get the point across that Becky was going to be there. And actually say... Again, I thought this was weird because she talked about how I've invited Becky to come to Smackdown to talk about her well-being and how she's doing. And I was like, invited her? Dude, she's on the Smackdown brand. Yeah, she's been on Raw for the last month or so, but she is on the Smackdown brand. She's still a Smackdown superstar. So that made no sense to me. I guess it was just to kind of add to the effect, you know, but invited her. I just laughed. I was like, invited her? What?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy thing that, you know, well, I guess now that both of them are at the Raw brand, or it seems they're at the Raw brand.
Smackdown must be like losing something. Because like Becky was the big thing over on Smackdown. You lose Becky, you lose people.
Well, then here's the question. And so then since Charlotte Flair is seen as being on SmackDown, is it possible that this is showing that Becky Lynch is going to go to Raw as the champion after Mania?
100%. 100%. I said this back at the Royal Rumble. I said before everything happened, I said she's going to make the move to Raw. I don't know when they're going to do it, but it would make sense for them to do it because she won the Rumble. She has an opportunity to go for somebody's title. She's not going to go for Asuka because Asuka just beat her. So she's going to go for Ronda Rousey because they have unfinished business from Survivor Series when she got her face broken. So, this makes sense. And then she would go to Raw because she's not going to take the Raw Championship to SmackDown. She could, but it's not going to happen. She's going to go to Raw.
Yeah, I agree. I think that. I think that Becky Lynch is definitely going to go into. I think she's going to beat.
She's going to
Flair.
win at Fastlane. And
Yes.
then she's going to go to Mania, and she's going to prove to everybody, because she's the underdog in this situation, going in with her screwed up knee, her semi-screwed up arm, you know, she's going in as the underdog, and people are like, you know, woohoo, Becky, let's go, you know. You take this, you beat Ronda Rousey, who has never been beaten by anybody. You take Charlotte Flair, who you've beaten multiple times, and it makes no sense as to why she's in this match at all, and you beat them both, and you prove everybody wrong, and you become a first-time Raw Women's Champion. Because she has never held the Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah,
She's only ever been on SmackDown to win. She was on Raw, but that was when they had the Divas Championship, and then they moved her to SmackDown, and then she was the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion, and she hasn't won any Raw Championships.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what do you think out there, or do you think that Becky Lynch is going to go in, win Fastlane, and then go on to win the title at Mania?
Yeah.
If you give us your thoughts in the comment section.
Yeah, we'll talk more on that a little
chat.
bit. We'll talk more on Becky and Charlotte a little later because they finished out the show. But I mean, that's really all the interview was just I have invited Becky to come and chat about her well-being, which is Then we have the R-Truth Open Challenge. He comes out, he starts off by saying, John Cena. I want to be just like my hero, John Cena. But one thing I gotta say is, I didn't know John came out every single week and did this. I'm tired from last week. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then Carmella gets on the mic and is like, because you're doing it for John Cena. He's your hero. And I love this. R-Truth is so good. They have Dean Ambrose on Raw, and they have R-Truth here.
Definitely. I think R-Truth
He's so funny.
He has definitely made things entertaining just with the mic skills.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was kind of... ultimately what's happens is based, you know, we have we have a new U.S. champion. So we know that R-Truth ends up losing, which kind of disappointed me because I felt
sad.
that, you know, it was fun watching him. I hope they don't change his character.
I thought he was going to go into Mania. After they talked about this stuff, I had a thought go through my head, which I'll talk about in a minute.
Well, they're going to have him fade. He's not going to be a champion. Samoa Joe's there. They had Andrade out there.
Okay, so hold on, let's backtrack just a bit. You know, he talks about, before we get in the match, we'll finish talking about what he did before that. He comes out, he's like, you know, all right, US Open Challenge, didn't know how to do this every week. How did John do it? I don't know. And then he goes on to say, all right, let's get this started. And then Lacey Evans' music hits, and she comes out, and she walks out, and he's like, okay, cool. So she comes out, she walks halfway down the ramp, as she normally does, and then she walks back up, and he's like, hey, wait a minute, come back here, we're gonna have our U.S. title match, what are you doing, where are you going? And I thought it was so funny. I put out a tweet, I said, wait, yeah, let's get Lacey Evans back out here, now put her in that U.S. title match, maybe she loses, you know, cool, but at least she's wrestling on TV.
Yeah, because
that's what I said.
She's had some matches where she hasn't, you know,
she's been at live
non-TV matches.
But they're not using her on TV in wrestling.
Other than just walking down the aisle and waving.
Yeah, so she comes out, and Truth is like, let's fight, come on, come at me, bro. And she walks back, of course.
Yeah.
And then we actually get the actual competitors. We have Samoa Joe, who comes out first, and I was like, dude. Then we have Rey Mysterio come out. Then we have Andrade come out. Which I expected after Rey Mysterio came out. I was like, Andrade's going to come out because, you know, that's what they're going to do. And then it is a fatal four-way match. R-Truth versus Andrade versus Rey Mysterio versus Samoa Joe for the U.S. title. This was kind of a disappointing match. Samoa Joe ended up winning the title, which, personally, if anybody was going to win the title, I would have liked to have seen Andrade win it. If they were going to change hands with the title.
And I think that's... They're going to set up an Andrade and Samoa Joe, you know, a feud going
Maybe
there.
they're trying to steer Andrade away from Rey Mysterio and turn him more towards like the big name guys. Well, bigger name guys. Rey Mysterio, I mean, he's a big name, but I feel like Samoa Joe is more popular.
Well, and Rey Mysterio is like a smaller guy, so I think that having him be a champion, I don't know how much of a push that would get. I don't know how much fans would get over with that. I know that you have the David versus Goliath type things with Rey Mysterio, but
which by the way they've done with Finn Balor.
Well,
so,
and it's a story that's been done over and over again with Rey Mysterio. So I love his matches. I love what he does. I think that he should go back and wrestle for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah, I think I would much rather like to see him do that.
Well, they should put the Cruiserweight matches more Cruiserweight. Again, you could have that and to fill some of the time with some of the promos and the interviews that they do that they really don't need to do.
Yeah.
So
it just, I don't know. Then we have, Samoa Joe wins. And I was reading, apparently this is the first big title Samoa Joe has won since 2016.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Well, it's a little better late than never, I guess. I mean, he's been on the main roster for quite some time now, and he hasn't won a title. He didn't win the Rumble like people thought he would. So, I mean,
he's a guy that's kind of been... I think one of the issues you have is some of the other talent they try to push a lot more than certain time. Again, I think they need to push some of these guys that are mid-card guys and possibly push them up into the main event type guys.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even though Samoa Joe has been on some of the main events, he's never really had a shot at having a title.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, a lot of people have said he should have shots at, the Universal Championship or the WWE Championship, which, I mean, he has had shots at them. But, Universal Championship, really, with Brock Lesnar. People have said, that would be an awesome match. Both of them have that, fighter-type style. And so it'd be very interesting to see how they pair together in the ring. So, I mean, it would be cool to see him, but they're just not going to give him that big enough push to do that because they have other guys on the roster that they're trying to focus on.
Yeah.
Which is what it boils down to. It's not, it's not really a point of whether he's not good. It's just he's not what the fans want to see, and, people, they just don't want to give him a push.
Well, and that's what I've said before, is they could give some of these lower card, mid card wrestlers a push without necessarily having them have a title shot. I think killing some of the time with interviews just turns fans off.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of the issues, that they have. And pushing some of these guys, Andrade, Samoa Joe, Kofi Kingston, they've kind of stuck on the back burner. I don't know why.
I don't either, which kind of leads us into our next segment. They showed a video of New Day, New Day video of where they're in Mumbai right now on a tour thing for WWE, just kind of getting themselves out there, which is cool, but they're not on TV. They're not trying to build up anything with Kofi. And I thought it was very funny. The announcers talked about how interesting that this was placed right after, Kofi lost his opportunity at his title shot, which I thought was kind of funny that the announcers were kind of poking fun at the whole situation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, New Day is cool, but they're not using them properly right now. They were giving Kofi a push, and then they're just not. Probably because they're going to hold off and wait until after Fastlane, and then they're going to push him to Mania, I would hope.
And I wonder if they're not, because he wasn't originally supposed to get the push. It was supposed to be Mustafa Ali.
It was supposed to be Mustafa
Ali's
Ali.
Injury caused him to miss out. So I wonder if they're trying to kind of put Kofi on the back burner, see if some of that dies down, and then they'll make a decision on what they're going to do at Mania with
whether
Kofi.
Or not it's Kofi or if it's Ali.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we'll talk about Ali again a little bit later because there was some things that happened with him. Because he did return. He was cleared to compete. He was at live events this weekend or last... It was this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Not last weekend?
I believe it was this weekend.
I believe it was this weekend, too. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry.
So then leads into
Samoa Joe interview talking about winning his title.
Yeah, there wasn't much to it.
He did talk about John Cena and like how, he talks about hustle, loyalty, and respect. Well, I don't have any respect for him, and I don't know how many people are loyal to him. So he's kind of a joke.
I suppose with him talking about that could lead to him
Joe
and John Cena
and Cena
at Mania, because there's been talk of John Cena being at Mania and wrestling somebody. So after he talked about the U.S. Open Challenge, I thought if R-Truth retains the championship, then they would go to Mania and have him do another U.S. Open Challenge, and John Cena accepts it. That would have been awesome with R-Truth versus John Cena. I think they could have done a great storyline.
Wow, my hero!
Yeah.
I get to face my hero? And just... I can only imagine how it would go down.
Well, and maybe they're still going to do something at Mania with John Cena, R-Truth, and Samoa Joe.
Maybe they both answer the challenge. If they do like an open challenge type thing. Samoa Joe is out there, I'm doing the U.S. Open Challenge, and then John Cena comes out, and then R-Truth comes out after that and is like, John Cena, you're my hero. Like,
yeah,
cool, crazy, I'm standing in the ring with you. Even though they've been in the ring together before.
Well, maybe, that might have been the whole plan all along, because why would R-Truth just pick John Cena as his hero and go with that bit for a while?
Well, I mean, because he did hold the U.S. title for such a long time, but other than that, I don't know.
There probably would have been no reason. So, it kind of points towards possibly have something happen at Mania with R-Truth, that Mania with John Cena.
And if not, that'd be kind of a letdown, but, that's life. So then we have the announcement for the triple threat match at Fastlane, the Revival versus Rude and Gable versus Ricochet and Black for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Rude and Gable are going to win the titles.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I see happening. I
definitely agree.
I don't see, after Aleister Black and Ricochet getting a win tonight, which will lead into the next thing in a second, they're not going to win the titles at Fastlane.
I think they're going to split them up.
I would agree with that, because they kind of have to.
I think there's a possibility that they may split them up and have them form like a rivalry.
Maybe. I don't know if I'd necessarily like to see that, because I feel like they've wrestled each other so much in NXT that, why not do something different and form a rivalry with somebody else? You know what I mean?
Well, that's for the people that watch NXT. If you don't have a lot of people that watch NXT, which
then they wouldn't have seen it. So, but still, you know what I mean? Just because they've had that kind of track record where they've worked with each other a lot. So,
which makes me think that they would use them against each other on the main stage to show off their talents, because they have worked with each other so much. They know what they're doing, and I think it would be entertaining. I wouldn't want to see it because I like both of them. Mm-hmm. But I think that for the mainstream fans that don't watch NXT, don't have the WWE Network to see it, then I think that would be a good thing for, to push out there and really show off their talents.
Yeah. I would agree. So then we have Aleister Black and Ricochet versus The Bar, which, didn't we see this last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago, I believe.
That's what I thought. I thought we already saw this match with them, which, it's fine, but, again, repetition. Eat, sleep.
Yeah, it's the same matches over and over again, yeah.
So Ricochet and Black get the win, and then after that we have Rusev and Nakamura who attack Black and Ricochet from behind from last week, where they had a match and they had won. And then we have the Hardy Boys who came in to save, not to save, but to help out Ricochet and Black fight off The Bar and Rusev and Nakamura.
And
then they end up standing victorious, all four of them. They clean house, and it's left with them standing in the ring.
Yeah, and so here was my other thought with Ricochet and Aleister Black they could keep them as a tag team, and the fact that the Hardy Boys came out with everything that, the Hardy Boys were similar to...
They're really good, like, type of tag
They
team.
are, and they were similar to... They do a lot of similar things to what Black and Ricochet do.
Risky, kind of high-flying type moves.
Yeah, so I could see, and I made the comment as we were watching it, that they're passing the torch on to... The Hardy Boys are passing the torch on to Ricochet and Aleister Black as being, that next tag team that comes in and does high-flying, dangerous, different types of wrestling.
In no way do I see the Hardy Boys leaving because they just re-signed their contract for like a year or something.
Well, I don't see them.
So I wouldn't say
leaving,
that they're gonna leave, but they are gonna kind of like maybe step back a little bit and be less of that more dominant tag team and let the new guys kind of come up and do that.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is just kind of the passing of the torch that, hey, we recognize you guys are good, and the stuff you do is pretty amazing, and we're here to, support that. And that's just kind of my feeling from, because, I mean...
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because I don't see any other reason to have the Hardy Boys come out other than just for that reason.
Yeah. It would, yeah. So then we have Mandy Rose versus Naomi. Again, this is a match we've seen a couple times on multiple occasions because they had a rivalry. Mandy Rose gets the win pretty quickly, actually, and she hits her with the finishing move. If I remember correctly, this is the same finishing move that she dropped Asuka on her head last night. Or last night? Was it last night?
Yeah, it was last night.
It was last night. Why? I don't know. I'm just all over the place. There's so much happening.
Well, the day kind of ran together with a late night last night. So.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't remember if it was last night or if it was over the weekend. I don't remember. But anyways, it was last night. So she used the same move that she had dropped Asuka on her head last night with. And she won the match fairly quickly. It was a very short match.
Yeah, it was quick.
Very quick.
I think I stepped out of the room real quick and
you came back. You like went to the bathroom and you came back and you were like, "Who? Mandy won? Who was she even fighting?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
fast.
Naomi. And you were like, okay, cool. So then after that, I was like, are we gonna even see Asuka this evening? Like, maybe they'd pull the whole, she was dropped on her head yesterday, so let's not put her out there so she doesn't hurt herself or whatever, even though she's fine. So I was like, are they going to do that? Or are they going to, actually bring her out?
Let's take a step back here. For those of you who don't know, Asuka was wrestling Mandy Rose last night at a show, and Mandy Rose ended up doing her finishing move on
go the way it was
Asuka,
supposed
and it didn't go quite the way it's supposed to. And
she kind of landed on her head or her back, or it was something along the lines of that.
I think it was her back, because I think she tweeted out today that...
Yes, I know she did tweet out talking about how it was just her back that was a little banged up, but her head and her neck were fine. But people that were there said it looked really bad. And so people were like, oh my gosh, is she going to have a concussion? Is she not going to be able to compete at Fastlane? Like, what's going to happen? But she is fine. And, things like that happen. And I did talk about this last night, but, I mean, stuff happens. Stuff doesn't always go the way it's planned. When you step in the ring, you're like... putting your body on the line, so...
Well, accidents happen all the time.
Yeah.
It's it's going to happen. You're going to have injuries, and sometimes you have to fight through it, and sometimes you can't.
I mean, again, the whole thing with, where Becky got her face broken, I don't think that was, intentionally supposed to happen, but it did. You know what I mean?
No, and she, when it happened, she fought through it and continued on with the show, and... Like I said, there's times where you can do that, and there's times where you have to really take into consideration how bad the injury is and take a look at
with that situation,
the safety of the wrestlers.
Yeah, with that situation, she did have a concussion. She was like, I'm fine, I'm cool, I can do this, but she had a concussion, so they weren't going to let her do it. So, they had to switch the storyline a bit and change it.
Yes.
Which happens, so whatever.
So anyway, Asuka comes out after the match...
And she throws... Well, it was Mandy and Sonya. They both came out. Mandy was in the match. But she... Asuka... They're walking up the ramp, and Asuka just, comes out from behind and is like, hello. And she, pulls and pushes Sonya Deville out of the way, and then like gets a hold of Mandy and like rips her to shreds, and then she throws him into the electronic board thing on the back. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah.
The
Jumbotron.
Yeah, Jumbotron. That's the word. She throws both of them into that, and then they're just left laying there. I know we talked about how you said that Mandy might win the title, but I don't think so. I think it'd be dumb if they had her win the title. That's just my personal views. I don't see Mandy as a title holder.
I don't either.
Don't. So, I wouldn't want to see her win the title.
I don't want to see her win the title either.
I mean, I just don't think... It'd just kind of be a letdown. If that's what they did.
Yeah, definitely.
There's been a lot of talk about Asuka and Lacey Evans. You know, going back on that thought real quick, I find it very funny. So recently I have gone back and I've watched old Smackdowns and Raws, like back from right before Rumble, and right before the Rumble, and I find it very funny because whenever we had the Becky and Asuka stuff that was happening, when Asuka was a SmackDown Women's Champion, you saw Lacey Evans back watching whatever Asuka was doing on the screen.
Yeah.
When she had matches and stuff.
Yeah.
So I find, like, I never noticed that before. So now it, like, would make sense because she has come out during Asuka's matches in past weeks. Well, the 1 week Asuka was on TV and she had a match, she came out and, you know, she kind of distracted people. And so that is another thing that makes me think, well, if they've been setting this up all along, where Lacey Evans has even been backstage watching Asuka's matches, then it would make sense that if they're going to do a SmackDown Women's Championship match at Mania, it's going to be Lacey Evans and Asuka. That adds more fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so then here's a thought. Charlotte Flair wins the title, the Raw title, and Lacey Evans wins the SmackDown title, and we build into SummerSlam where those two will fight and they will unify the title and just have one title.
I don't see that happening because they're making a big deal out of the Becky knee thing and like being the underdog, and I don't see Charlotte winning at Mania. I don't think that's what they're going to do.
So, okay, so you have Charlotte win at Mania, and then before SummerSlam, you have Charlotte win the title.
You have Charlotte win at Mania.
And then, what'd I say?
You said you have Charlotte win at Mania,
Yeah, Becky
and then
win
you
at
have
Mania.
Charlotte go against Charlotte come SummerSlam, and they do whatever they're going to do. I'm like,
So
what?
you have Becky win at Mania, and then have Charlotte win, you know, at one of the other pay-per-views between Mania and SummerSlam, and then Flair and Lacey Evans battle to unify the title at SummerSlam.
I don't know. Maybe.
It would, you know, I know a lot.
I know it's a thought,
Well,
but
and a lot of-
it's a thought I don't like.
Well, I know you don't like it, but there's a lot of people who like to see fewer titles.
I mean, yeah.
And having one title, having a WWE champion that with a lot of cross promotion between shows, and we've kind of seen things being led up to having cross motions, you know, with Sasha Banks and Bayley going down to NXT and talking about wrestling anybody, anywhere, anytime. And if NXT gets a TV deal, so now you have a third show on a big network, so you could do a lot of cross promotion with these wrestlers, and I think you could put on a really good show. And I think that you'd have fewer titles.
Yeah.
That would make it more interesting. People would get more interested in it, and I just think you need to use more wrestlers.
Yeah.
I
know that there was talk. I'm talking about Becky Lynch again. I know that there was talk and some rumors that maybe Stephanie McMahon versus Becky Lynch at SummerSlam.
So then that would probably mean that she wouldn't win the title, or wouldn't?
Not necessarily. Maybe
she may
she
win
wins
the title, but then she loses it.
Well, not necessarily, because she could still go into that match, and it wouldn't be a title match, and it's just the boss versus the man.
You can't have...
And, I mean...
but if you're going to be at SummerSlam at a big pay-per-view, you have to have the title on the line.
I don't know. Again,
That's
it was
my opinion.
Again, it was a rumor. I don't know. I mean, I guess it would kind of make sense, but I feel like Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon one-on-one would make more sense because Ronda Rousey has kind of been like the... But, I mean, yet again, Becky Lynch has also been put in that situation where because of Vince, she was suspended after she had been told by Stephanie and Hunter, hey, you'll have your match at Mania, you'll go to Mania. But then Vince comes out and is like, oh, no, what are we doing here? I'm the boss, I'm the man, I run the show, this is what we're doing. So, I mean, maybe she'd have a fight to pick.
Yeah. With
them. I mean, I guess it would make sense, but, I'd like to see her hold on to the title just because, I just would. So then we have an AJ Styles interview backstage, and he's talking about how he thinks Kofi should have a shot at the title. And then Randy Orton comes in and he goes, and I quote, he goes, "Are you seriously talking about someone other than yourself getting a title shot?" Then he goes on to say, "This is why it took you 15 years to get to WWE. Because you're worried about other people and not yourself."
Good promo, I thought.
You either... How does that saying go? Eat or be eaten? Right?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's like along the lines of what he was trying to get at.
The only other thing, cool thing would have been is if AJ Styles would have said, "And where's your title belt right now?"
I definitely think we're leading into something with Mania for the two.
I agree.
Because I think you have to put... Even if AJ Styles isn't in a title shot, he doesn't have a title shot, I think they're still going to put Randy Orton and AJ Styles on the card at Mania just because they are two of the big name guys right now on the main show. And... I mean, where else are you going to put him? You're going to put him in the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial thing? Battle Royale Memorial... I don't know. It's the Andre the Giant thing at Mania. I never say it right. I always say the words wrong. I always get it mixed up, no matter how hard I try. Battle Memorial. Battle Royal Memorial.
Yeah, there you are.
Close enough. Whatever. I mean, and, like, what? I don't even know who's going to win that. Maybe EC3. Maybe not. I mean, Mojo Rawley won last year or the year before. So, I mean, I don't see Mojo Rawley winning. Maybe Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah, possibly.
That would be amazing. He'd be like, woohoo, finally got a win. But then they'd go, dude, that's not a win.
Yeah.
You literally... that would be funny, though. This is going off topic, but that would be totally funny if he was in the Andre the Giant thing, and then you have to be thrown over the top rope. So if he like just slides out underneath the ring and like hangs out underneath, and then it comes down to the final person, and they're like, "Woohoo, I won!" And then he like pushes him over the edge and is like, "I won finally!"
Well, it would be better if they had him as the number one entry, and then he wins it.
I mean, yeah, it would. It'd be cool. But they all come out at the same time. They're all in at the same time, Dad. It's not like
that's
the Royal
right.
Rumble. It's not like the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, sorry.
So my thought makes more sense.
Yeah. Forget what I just said.
That's Dad looking like a dope. So then we have Rey Mysterio versus Andrade announced for the Fastlane kickoff show. Again, I feel like we've seen this match multiple times. Sometimes it has not happened because it's been broken up by somebody else. But, cool. Adds to the show, I guess. But it's not even adding to the show because it's on the kickoff show.
Well, it does, but I just don't understand,
They got to have a match on the kickoff show somewhere, I guess. They were like, oh, we got to come up with something. We don't have anything. Cruiserweight division? Not going to work because they're building that up for Mania. We can't have the title lost there. So, Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Why not? Here we go. Cool. Put him on the card. I mean, I don't know.
Well, so then it comes back to... Because it looked like they were kind of giving Andrade a little bit of a push with the match he's been in.
I thought he was going to win the title.
And then
the US title.
Kick him back down to Fastlane kickoff show.
So, like...
Both him and Rey Mysterio.
Does that make any sense to anybody at all?
No.
Not really. So I don't really know what they're gonna do with that. I see Andrade winning. I don't think Rey Mysterio's gonna win.
I think if they're going to try to get Andrade over, that you have to have him win.
100%. So that was announced. So they have announced 2 new matches to add to, well, 3 I guess if you count last night because they made the big Becky and Charlotte match. So we have 3 matches added to the very small card of Fastlane.
Yeah.
So, then we have Kevin Owens versus Rowan, which was talked about earlier in the evening. It ended up ending in a DQ after Bryan had gotten involved. So they're like attacking him, and then Mustafa Ali's music hits, and he comes out and he helps take out Daniel Bryan and Rowan. He helps Kevin Owens. So I mean,
so this is where you know they brought him back into the whole feud, and now that he's healthy.
Because he was supposed to. I said this right before he got injured. I said Mustafa Ali is my pick. They're gonna give him a big push, and he's gonna win the title at Elimination Chamber. And then he had his injury, and he had a concussion, and so he wasn't able to wrestle.
Yeah, so they're starting to bring him back in, so you could see him at Mania doing something. Which then you wouldn't have Kofi Kingston.
You wouldn't have Kofi Mania. So sad.
So
but the thing is, something I thought about. I said this the other day, I think. I don't remember if it was on stream or if it was just you. But I talked about how, well, maybe what they do is they bring Kofi Kingston back into the mix after Fastlane. But then Mustafa Ali is also like, hey, wait a minute. I was next in line to get a shot at the title before I was injured. I was supposed to be in the match at Elimination Chamber. You know, props to you, Kofi. You made it that far, but I still want my shot. So,
well,
what if they have like a Smackdown match for #1 contendership for WrestleMania?
Well, and that's possible, but then
the question is, who do they send on? Do they do what the fans want and give Kofi Kingston, or do they do what they want to do and give Mustafa Ali a big push?
Well, and then is that why they're keeping Kofi off of TV, is to try and turn down some of the heat he was creating with the fans being excited about him.
That's what they did with Becky.
So
everybody has said it.
So
they killed some of people's everything when they take him off TV.
Well, so are they doing that with Kofi right now? Because they are still they showed his thing tonight, and they talked about the New Day.
It's not like they're not talking about him, but they don't have him physically on TV.
Yeah, so that's, and I wonder if they're doing that to try and slowly cut back up until we get to Mania.
Yeah. On
not seeing Kofi, and how long is he going to be gone? Is he going to come back after Fastlane? Is he going to come back a couple weeks after Fastlane?
Like the week before Mania?
So it's just a matter of how long they're going to keep him out and where they're going to go with the storyline. It's still kind of up in the air because now with Mustafa Ali back, who was originally supposed to get, the title shot.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what the rumors are. You have Kevin Owens, who's returned, who now is going to get a title shot. So if Kevin Owens wins at Fastlane, do you then turn around and give Daniel Bryan a shot back at WrestleMania? There's a lot of ways that the title shot, the championship at Mania could go.
Yeah, like a lot of different ways. I guess we'll just really have to see what happens at Fastlane as to whether or not Owens wins, Bryan wins, if we see Kofi come back, if we see Ali go, hey, where's my shot? I want it.
Well, and I agree, but then you still have 3 weeks leading up to Mania to build some stuff up and have things happen. So where they go with the storylines, I think, is going to be huge.
This is where a lot of people. Sorry to interrupt your thought, but this is where a lot of people are like, Fastlane is like a pay-per-view that it's like a speed bump because you have to build storylines up to Fastlane when people they just want to see the storylines build up to WrestleMania.
Well, I think one of the issues you have is they're like
poorly placed.
Well, they're less than a month apart.
Yeah.
So when you have them that close,
to try and get a pay-per-view in every month. Cool, but it makes it more difficult on the storyline aspect because they got to start building up totally different stories to go to Fastlane, but then after that, they're like, oh, scratch this. This is what happened at Fastlane, so now we got to fix this for WrestleMania because this, whatever, you know?
Well, I agree, but I think one of the things that they could do, and this talk, I guess, goes into using all the wrestlers, you could have all these pay-per-views every month and have your big pay-per-views be, the big four that they have.
Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series.
Yeah. And have your big matches at those 4 pay-per-views, and everything else is kind of either building towards those 4.
Yeah.
Or have some of these mid-card matches that, people enjoy, or even some of the lower card matches that people enjoy.
Yeah.
And use them at some of these other pay-per-views rather than trying to have a big headline match at every pay-per-view.
Yeah. That's what makes it, especially with the WWE Championship, that's what makes it a little bit difficult, is because you're like, well, wait a minute. Like, we were going to do Kofi, but now it's Kevin Owens because they got to do something bigger for Fastlane, but, huh? It just, like I said, it just serves kind of like a bump in the road, and it's a pay-per-view that I know a lot of people dislike for the reason that it's right between Royal Rumble and Mania, and
well, I think they could have.
Nobody wants to see whatever's happening at Fastlane. They just want to go straight to Mania.
They could have taken
and see the big stuff.
The thing is they could have kept the title match out of it completely at Fastlane.
They could have. They didn't have to have a title defense.
They could have had Kevin Owens. They could have had Kevin Owens come out and
Kevin Owens could have made his return at Fastlane.
Well, I'm fine with him making his return when he did. They could have had Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens match, or a Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali triple threat match.
To then
determine,
well, then they could have determined, number 1 contendership.
So, kind of like they're doing with Becky and Charlotte. You don't have Ronda Rousey fighting either one of them for the title at Fastlane.
Nope.
So you could use these other pay-per-views to build up for matches at the big 4 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And you have,
definitely.
like I said, there's enough wrestlers between SmackDown, Raw, and NXT, and even Main Event, and what's the other one? 205 Live.
Oh, yeah.
That,
I didn't know what you were talking about for a second. You were talking about the big 4 pay-per-views, and then I was like, what?
And you could throw NXT UK in there. With all those, there's enough wrestlers there to bring up into these pay-per-views and have them, have some decent matches that people would be interested in.
Yeah.
And I think that if you use some of these matches to promote some of the NXT stars, especially since they're not on TV, that people don't know who they are, you could put them on the undercard of your main events, and people at least get to take a look at them and see these people and go, oh, wow, you know what? These people are good.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. So then, after some more fighting, Kevin Owens ends up hitting Bryan with the stunner. Stone Cold Stunner. And then Bryan and Rowan leave the ring. I find it very funny that Kevin Owens' choice of move happens to be the stunner.
That means he's going to fight Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He comes back, and, he's like, cool, I'm going to use the stunner. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, it makes me laugh a little bit because they're kind of putting these Stone Cold references in different places. Because people are considering Becky to be like the Stone Cold, so to speak, of the women's division now and of the main roster now. They're considering her to be the Stone Cold type character. And then they're doing it with Kevin Owens, too. They're making reference to Stone Cold. Because he did that in his promo, too.
So is that a hint that maybe he's going to come back for, one match?
I mean, maybe. Possibly. That would be super cool. Maybe if... So we always see big name, old school wrestlers come out at Mania, right? Yeah. So what if, hypothetically, if Kevin Owens does not win the title on Sunday, he goes into Mania. He's got to be featured somewhere. I mean, come on. Do you think he wouldn't be featured on Mania? Probably not. So they got to use him somehow. So he comes out and he's doing his mic thing, and then like we have Stone Cold come out or whatever, and he's like, "Dude, you want to take my trademark? You want to be me? Beat me first." And then he loses.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be kind of cool because we've seen legends and stuff. You know, we've seen Shawn Michaels, we've seen Hulk Hogan. You know, we have Stone, blah, blah, blah. I'm running Stone Cold and Cena together. We've seen Stone Cold before. We've seen The Rock. So why not? I mean, why not do something solely on Stone Cold? If they're making all these references to him, it almost would make sense.
Yeah, and I think it'd be cool. I think it would just add to Mania, and you know, he'd get a big pop.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be really cool. Just because we haven't seen Stone Cold on a WWE like big show type situation in quite a while. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it'd be cool. So after that, we have the Charlotte and Becky face-to-face friendly discussion. I thought this was really good. Personally.
Yeah, again, I mean, it was, you know, the Charlotte interview earlier in the night could have had something else in that place. But, you know, this was kind of expected.
Yeah. Well, I asked you, I said, so we're going to see Charlotte tonight? And you were like, no, probably not. And I was like, but why though?
Well, the only reason
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Because they are now seen as being Raw. I mean, outside of doing the cross-promotion things that I've said they need to do, both of these wrestlers are seen as on
Raw,
but they're still signed as SmackDown
Okay,
superstars.
but if you're going for the Raw title, you should be on Raw.
I mean, yeah.
If you're gonna continue to have the championships that way, why have, you know, this cross promotion stuff if you're not going to go full on board with wrestlers from both brands wrestling against each other?
Yeah.
Which is why I said they just need to get rid of, here's the SmackDown roster, here's the Raw roster. And
I mean, I still think they could do that.
The WWE roster.
I mean, quite honestly, I still think they could do the whole Raw and SmackDown thing and have superstars that are on there, but do like the cross promotion stuff. You know, their regular show that people would expect to see them on would be Raw or would be SmackDown, but then they can go and do the cross promotion stuff like they're doing with Becky and Charlotte right now. You know, I find it very funny. The one that we haven't seen off of Raw is Ronda Rousey. She's never been on SmackDown.
No.
Which I find very funny. So, you know...
Why would you have your Raw champion come to SmackDown?
I don't know. Why would you have... I don't know. I don't have a reason for that. I don't have a good analogy.
I mean, it makes more sense to have someone that wants to challenge the Raw champion to cross over and do it that way.
Yeah.
But bringing the Raw champion over to SmackDown, if they're going to be a true Raw champion...
Then have him on Raw.
Then keep him on Raw.
Well, then you can
Which is why I said get rid of all of that, have one title, and then you can cross...
Okay. What I have to say about that is nobody even is paying any forsaken attention to the SmackDown women's title. At all. It's like, Asuka is a superstar. She's not a champ. She hasn't been on the show in weeks. We haven't seen anything develop with her until 2 weeks ago when she faced Mandy, and then she wasn't even there last week. And then she was there tonight, but she didn't do anything except throw people into the boards. And then she has a match this weekend at Fastlane to defend her title, which thus far has been defended one time.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah, I mean, I could see... They haven't used Asuka well.
No.
So, which is why I said just go to one title.
Yeah.
And then, but they need to use all these wrestlers better and use them more.
What they're doing with Lacey Evans makes no sense. What they're doing with Asuka makes no sense. What they're doing with Mandy Rose makes no sense. Yeah, she's getting focused, but she's being focused on, but it makes no sense because, like, she's not a title holder. I'm sorry. She's not. We both agree on that. So, I mean...
You know, I got to thinking with the Lacey Evans thing, if the rumors are true that, you know, she's not real good in ring right now, they want her to be a big star, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing with her is, without having to put her in the ring and on TV...
They're getting her on TV.
They're getting her on TV so everybody sees her.
And then goes...
So then if, you know, when her ability steps up, and from what I've heard, she's a hard worker and is a good athlete, and so it's just a matter of time and having the experience to be in the ring,
mm-hmm.
then I think with what they're doing with her is probably a good idea.
I mean, yeah. You'd much rather see her go out there and be good in the ring than, like, get ripped to shreds by the fans, I guess.
Well,
I think they're trying to make her... I don't want to say they're trying to make her a babyface, but she's not a heel either, so she's kind of somewhere in that in-between.
Well, and I don't know what they're doing with her as far as that goes, but I think that the whole idea is to get her out there so everybody sees her. We know that she's been on some, you know, at least one show that was not on TV. So...
And she did win. She beat Dana Brooke and Natalya.
Yeah, so it's a matter of getting her ready in ring so then she can make her debut on TV so that everybody can see it.
Yeah.
Which I thought, you know, if NXT is kind of your minor leagues where you try and build these people up to get them ready to go up, then why did they bring her up so quick? Why didn't they just keep her down at NXT?
I mean, they must have plans for her then.
Well, I'm sure there's plans for her.
And, you know, I don't...
And maybe they had plans for her, and, you know, hasn't developed quite the way they wanted her to, and so they've decided that, you know, to keep her...
relevant.
Yeah, to keep everybody knows who she is, they bring her out, bring her down the aisle, and she waves at everybody and interrupts everybody, and then turns around and walks back.
I mean, yeah.
Just a thought.
I guess. That would make sense, because I personally don't think she is, like, anywhere near as good as some of the girls that they have up there right now. Any of the women that they have on the women's division.
Well, I don't know, because I haven't seen her really wrestle.
I saw her down in NXT some, like, in her later stuff, and then, like, I mean, showcasing her in the Royal Rumble, I mean, you know, it's the Royal Rumble, so they don't showcase their talent super well in that, individually, you know, because everybody's just trying to throw each other over the ropes. But, you know, just, I've seen some of her stuff, and she isn't the greatest wrestler in the world. She definitely has, you know, flaws and things that should be fixed. But, you know, it's just a matter of what are they doing with her? When are they going to do it? Personally, I think it is kind of getting a little bit old just seeing her walk down the ramp and walk back up, because she's done it the last 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Consistently on Monday and Tuesday. I'm shocked we haven't seen her on NXT. So, you know, so that aspect of being a fan, it just kind of gets a little bit old and stale.
They're keeping her relevant.
But, yeah, they are keeping her relevant, and people are... We're talking about her?
They are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the whole point, is just to get people talking about her, saying,
they've successfully done what they planned on doing.
What are you doing with her? Why do you consistently keep bringing her out when you're not doing anything with her? It gets people talking. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. So this show, going back to Charlotte and Becky, face-to-face friendly discussion. Not so friendly discussion. They show the video from last night of Ronda Rousey beating up Becky Lynch. You know, this is hard. This is hard to watch last night. I watched it, you know, in its entirety today. Meh, you know. I think Becky's seen worse, so I think she'll be fine.
It's just because you're a Becky fan.
Yeah. I'd say that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm like pro team Becky, like all the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's very funny because when I talk to everybody else in the family, only one person was like, I like Ronda Rousey.
That wasn't me.
No, it wasn't. So you're a Becky fan?
No.
No, you're a Charlotte fan.
Doesn't make any difference.
Well, if we're talking about the two, who would you pick?
Between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair?
No, Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey.
Oh, between Becky Lynch, or between...
Becky and Ronda.
Becky and Rondy?
Yeah. Rondy?
Ronda?
Rondy, Ronda, and Ronnie. No, between Ronnie and Bex. Who would you choose?
I don't know.
We're just going to say he chooses Becky Lynch because he's taking too long. So they show the video. They show the joke now. They show the video from last night, and they talk about the four lines. This is two. The four lines that Ronda Rousey said. The four lines. I did it like this. The four lines that Ronda Rousey said last night. She on her website, rondarousey.com, I believe, she put up a tweet today, and she made T-shirts. She had T-shirts made that had her lines on it, and I thought they were so funny. I want to screw the woo shirt.
Yeah, I
want one.
The three shirts she made, one was the Screw the Woo shirt.
And then the Damn the Man. That's what it was.
Yeah, and then the third one was
the oh good grief. No More Mrs. Nice Bitch. Yeah. That's what it was. I thought it was so funny. I loved it. That was the best lines that Ronda. That was like three best lines Ronda Lynch. Oh my gosh.
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey has ever said on TV ever.
Yeah, so they're pretty. I mean, the shirts are pretty cool.
They are really cool. So she had those.
Hey, Bendy.
Hi, Bendy. How's it going? Hey, dude.
Good to see you.
Yeah, really good to see you. We are talking about Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, of course. So then they show the video from last night. And then Charlotte talks about, I just wanted to bring Becky out here so you all know how to get her out here. Let's do it. And she starts chanting, Becky, Becky, Becky. And then she just stops and the fans take over. And then she was like, look, there she is. Her music is playing. I bet we're going to see her now. So she was just kind of poking fun at it. And then Becky comes out and Becky talks about, Ronnie giving her all last night. She was like, this is the Ronda Rousey I wanted to face from the beginning. And she sure gave it to me. But guess what? I'm going to turn around and I'm going to beat both of you at Mania. Well, first, I'm going to beat you at Fastlane, and then I'm going to go on to beat both of you at Mania. So then she says, damaged people are the most dangerous because they have nothing to lose. Because you're already damaged. So, I thought that was a really good line. And then Charlotte then goes on to beat up Becky and is like, you have nothing to lose, eh? Nothing to lose at all. Well, I'm going to beat you up now just for fun, because I can. And they're beating each other up. And I was like, oh, not this again. I don't want to watch it. And then Becky grabs the crutch, one crutch that she's on. She kind of hits Charlotte a couple times, and then she's able to grab her arm and put her in the disarm her. And I was like, there we go. That's the Becky. There's Becky, the man. Super cool. And then they get pulled apart, and she's like, I don't want to let go. And then we're left with Becky saying, see you at Fastlane. I feel like you're 100% Becky is winning at Fastlane. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
She has to.
She has to. She's going to go to Mania. They're making a really big deal out of this. This is what people wanted to see from the beginning. They didn't want to see Charlotte in the match. They just wanted to see Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. But, just getting her in that match. I said this yesterday. I said the only reason I see Charlotte being in this match would be to just say, hey, she was in the first ever women's WrestleMania main event. That's the only reason I see her in this match, because otherwise she has nothing to do with it. She had nothing to do with the Twitter feud. There's nothing, she kind of has a bone to pick with Ronda Rousey, back from Survivor Series when she beat her upside the head with kendo sticks. But, other than that, it's why is Charlotte in the match? Aside from being the golden one, the chosen one.
You know what?
Vince's pick.
Okay, but here's my thought. And I've kind of changed my thought on this. I have always said that they need to just have Becky and Ronda. And after taking some time to think about it, watch the whole thing brewing and everything else, Charlotte Flair is in this match because she is the best on the mic. By far. Not even close. She cuts the best promos. She gets people interested. She keeps a level head on things. And stays smooth with everything she's doing.
I will give her this. She plays a really good heel.
She could play heel or a face.
Personally, she does a better job as a heel than she does
so
a baby
explain
face.
to me, what has she done to be a heel? To be considered a heel?
She beat up Becky Lynch.
Okay, I'm talking about on the mic.
I don't know.
Nothing. She has done nothing.
I mean, she makes comments about, different things, but
But she keeps a level head and does an awesome job on the mic.
She does. I'll give her
not even close. Hands she is the best on the mic.
I'll give her that. Yeah. She is good on the mic. She's better than Ronda Rousey.
Well, definitely. But that's what I'm saying. The more I got to think about this as to why she was in this, I think it was done, and maybe it's, part of it is to make sure that she's in the first ever title match at WrestleMania, the main event. But it was done because of the way she works on the mic.
Well, what I said in the beginning before they turned Rousey heel, people were like, it's two baby faces. Becky's a baby face. They're trying to make Ronda a baby face, but people could care less. And so people were like, well, they have to bring heel in somewhere, so they put Charlotte in the match for that reason. And then they turned Rousey heel, so now it's two heels versus the babyface. And so she has more to overcome because they're both supposed to be the bad guys in this situation. And so it gives more reason to put Becky in as the underdog, and then she has to overcome all of that. Overcome even everything that she's already had thrown at her.
But the only reason that anyone considers Charlotte Flair a heel in this whole thing is because of the fact Vince McMahon put her in there. Outside of that, there is no reason that you could sit here and say, well, she's the heel. None. In fact, she's probably added to this because of the way she handles herself on the mic. And the way she handles herself in the whole thing. I think if we would have had 7 or 8 weeks of just Becky and Ronda Rousey going back and forth, I think that their Twitter feud has helped. But I think the fact that Charlotte has stepped back and said, I'm not getting involved in this. And then the way she handles herself on the mic on the shows has really made this match bigger and has kind of pushed me towards being okay with having the triple threat match. Where before
I mean, I would agree. I'm not so opposed to the triple threat match now. I still don't like it, but I'm more willing to accept it.
What do any of you think, the ones that are watching, leave a comment in the chat about what do you think about having the triple threat match?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Like I said,
or if you watch our stream, leave comments to let us know what you think about the triple threat match. Because I was totally 100% against it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, when they first announced it, I was like, I cried. Okay, I was that upset. I was legitimately upset. It hurt me to see this triple threat thing. Well, they also suspended Becky, which also I was like, why? So I was legitimately upset there. But then I know this is called dedication. I'm a pro wrestling fan.
No, you're a Becky Lynch fan.
That's a true statement. I was so crushed when they took her out of it, and they were like, oh, we're gonna put Charlotte in. I was like, why? So then I was like, I hate this. I hate this. And then on top of that, they suspended Becky, so I was like, I hate this even more now. So now Becky's got to come back from this. And now, look at her now. She's reinstated. And I was like, it was really funny. Yesterday, we were in the car watching this. And they were like, oh, we're reinstating Becky. And so the rest of my family, aside from Dad and I, we were driving home, and everybody else was at home, and they were watching it on TV. And my mom texted me, and she's like, I think we just heard you scream all the way from in the car because they just reinstated Becky. And I was like, yep. And it was the funniest thing ever. It was like right after it happened, and she was like, I think we just heard you scream.
Yeah, it was funny.
From the car.
It was definitely funny.
We were like still an hour and a half away from home.
Because they knew how you'd react.
I think we heard you scream. And I was like, yep. So I was really excited to see her get reinstated because I was like, this is the way it should have been from the beginning. And I don't know. I'm a big Becky Lynch fan.
Well, like I said, I've definitely become coming more around to accepting the triple threat match rather than just the Becky versus Ronda.
Whoa, Rebecca. Are we pulling Rebecca Quinn in now? Yeah, we're making things personal.
Well, it's, you know, I think that
it's going to be Ashley and Rebecca and Ronda Rousey.
This is going to add to I think it adds to it because I think Charlotte Flair is awesome on the mic. And I think it adds to everything. I mean, you watch her last night, the way she reacted to Ronda Rousey beating up on Becky.
She didn't get involved.
Well, just her face is like, okay, I'm backing off here. Let her do her thing, and I'm going to back off. And,
well,
you know,
I mean, I think part of that was, you know, due to the fact that she's like, oh, well, I don't want to go into Fastlane being hurt because then I'll have something on my shoulder. Becky already has a target because her knee is screwed up, so, I mean, just go for that, and then I win the match. If I'm injured, then Becky has a target on me, and she can rip me to shreds.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I agree with that. But, I mean, I think it was just, she is the best at what she does, and I think that is why, part of the reason that she is being added to this match.
Well, so, triple threat, again, like I said, I was opposed to it in the beginning. I'm not super opposed to it now. Just due to the circumstances that, I mean, like I said, they were trying to put over Ronda Rousey as a babyface when she's not, that's not a good character for her. And then they turn her over to a heel, and she's like a complete monster. So, I mean, you know, I don't know. I think it'll prolong the match, so I'm just having Charlotte in there, because I think, I don't know. I just think it'll prolong the match some, having Charlotte in there too.
Well, I think so too.
I mean, yeah, if they're trying to push this over as the main event, yeah. You want it to be longer, because it's going to finish out the show. And, again, like I said, it makes having both of them in there as that heel character, you have Becky who has to overcome more, and it makes Becky look like the underdog, so then she has to, you know, not only do I have Ronda Rousey, I have Charlotte too, who both of them are going to be coming for me, because A, neither of them like me, and B, they both don't want to see me succeed. So... Well,
and that's kind of the angle they've taken. I mean, you have both, I mean, on Raw, you have Ronda Rousey taking shots at Becky Lynch, and on Smackdown, which might have been part of the reason that Charlotte was there tonight, was to take shots at Becky Lynch. So then you have this, we're all out to get Becky Lynch.
So you know, this is the first time Becky Lynch has been on SmackDown in like a month. So like, I mean, you know.
Has it been that long?
Mm-hmm.
Because she was on like 3 or 4 like Raw SmackDowns like in a row.
When last week she wasn't on SmackDown because she got arrested on Raw.
Yeah.
The week before that she wasn't on SmackDown. The week before that I don't think she was on SmackDown because she was suspended. And if she came to the arena again, they were like, "Oh,
yeah."
Well, because it was
probably
after.
Has been about a month.
Because it was after Elimination Chamber. And
yep.
She came on Raw, and then beat up. Was that the week that she got arrested?
I think so.
Was that last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was last week that she got arrested. And so the week before that was Elimination Chamber. And the Raw after that, she came out and she attacked people again.
Yeah. So it's been. But the thing is, you know,
it's been a month since she's been on her actual like show that she's supposed to be on.
I think the whole idea behind this is to get, you know, the crowd going, oh yeah, it's Charlotte and Rousey against Becky.
It makes Becky look better because they're gonna have her win the title.
I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that you'll see her win the title at Mania.
That'll be the day.
So, I think that...
If nobody has any further questions, the show,
I think that pretty much does it for this stream.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much covered everything. We will be back tomorrow night
for NXT.
For NXT. I know that they've had, pre-tapings and everything. We don't watch that. I try to stay away from watching what actually is out there.
No spoilers.
So we can kind of talk about it.
And then on Mondays when, the pro wrestling, when pro wrestling comes in.
Yeah.
He talks about, have you seen the spoilers for NXT? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Somebody over here is like against it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I stay away from it. No spoilers.
Don't look at spoilers. No spoilers. Yeah.
So then it's easy. So then we don't slip up and talk about it in one of these Smackdown lives or
that's probably a good idea.
So anyway,
because I'll get talking about something, and I'm very curious to see what they do tomorrow with Ciampa because he's injured, and if they're doing this DIY thing where they're in the tournament, are they going to pull like a Sasha and Bailey where Gargano does all the work and then that's what leads to the turn?
Possibly, and I think here's my, with the Dusty Rhodes Classic, I think we can say for sure that Ricochet and Aleister Black are not going to win it.
No. I think they'll win the first round. I don't even remember who they're against. But I think they'll win the first round, and then it'll be DIY, because DIY and Ricochet and Black are lined up in the same match card, so they would face each other if they won. So I'm thinking DIY wins the one, Ricochet and Aleister Black wins the other, DIY then beats Ricochet and Aleister Black, and then they go on to get to the main...
DIY?
Yeah, DIY.
Yeah.
DIY ends up beating Black, Ricochet and Black. Maven will get talking about something. Cough, cough. Becky Lynch, cough, cough.
Yes, she will.
Thank you. Becky Lynch will, yeah. Who knows? Becky Lynch will probably come up again tomorrow or the next day or whatever, She'll say something on Twitter. Actually, it's really funny. Charlotte Flair with the whole shirt thing with Ronda Rousey and her shirts. Charlotte Flair made a comment, and I'm just like waiting for Becky to get on Twitter and be like, I would like one of these shirts. Where can I get them? I'd like one, please. And thank you.
I think it'd be fun if she got on and said, I'd like one of each one.
I'd like one of each, please. Hey, Ronnie, can you give me my total?
Yeah.
I think that would be so funny. I'm just waiting for her to make a sarcastic reply. Her Twitter game is so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's so good.
All right.
Anyway, see, we get talking about Becky Lynch,
So with that, we're going to end the stream.
Bendy, just to let you know, it's your fault. I wouldn't have talked about Becky Lynch again if you hadn't said anything. So.
Yeah, see, good job, Bendy.
We
stream every Monday night after Raw, every Tuesday night after SmackDown, every Wednesday after NXT, and after every pay-per-view. This Friday, we will be streaming our predictions for Fastlane.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be kind of, not early in the day, but like earlier than 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it'll probably
be a little earlier because we have to get up in the next morning to go to a dance competition out of town. So.
It'll be sometime
on Friday.
That's why you subscribe and hit that little bell button so then you know when we do go live.
Yeah, because, you never know when we'll pop on.
Because then when you're out at, some big dinner somewhere, you can pull out your phone and watch us on there.
Yeah. Just discreetly,
yes.
Put those headphones in from Apple or, whatever, and just have them,
put
your hair in front of them.
Put your AirPods in.
Yeah, AirPods.
Definitely ring that bell, kids. Have the AirPods in. And
I did that last night. We were walking through a store before we came home, and Raw came on, and I was like, I gotta watch this somehow.
Yeah, one thing is you don't have AirPods, so everybody can see the string dangling down.
But I put it around my back, and I had it kind of tucked in and stuff, so it was a little more discreet. But I was walking around and I had my phone out like this, so it was pretty obvious what I was doing. But
yes, definitely.
Whatever. I'll be the one person who walks around a grocery store watching wrestling.
That's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Makes me stand out.
Definitely.
And then we also sometimes will just pop on during the week, depending on what's going on in the world of wrestling, to talk about any rumors, predictions, stuff like that.
Yes.
AEW,
definitely.
Who knows?
If you like what you see, give us a like. If you dislike it, give us a dislike. Thumbs down. let us know what you think, so then we can fix any issues that we have in our streams.
Also, technical stuff, difficulties, whatever. You can let us know about that. And then also any thoughts or ideas for what might happen going forward towards Mania, always feel free to let us know. You can comment under our videos, or you can hit us up on Twitter. I am at Maven Gleen.
I am at Mr._Gleen.
And feel free to give us thoughts, ideas, predictions, what you might like to see happen.
The show is at the Wrestle Story. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you're checking us out on Twitter. We've started posting more on Twitter in the last couple days. So you can contact us there.
Yep.
Let us know what you think.
We will be back tomorrow for NXT. Very curious to see what happens with DIY, Dusty Rhodes Classic, stuff like that.
Till then, peace out.
Bye, guys.